This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. The Dixie Heights High School Amateur Radio Club, KY4DH, had a tremendous ARRL School Club Roundup last week.
CQ. This is KY4DH Kilo Yankee Ford Delta Hotel calling CQ 40 meters. This is KY4DH calling CQ. Dixie Heights High School in Edgewood, Kentucky calling CQ for the School Club Roundup.
They experienced their best score ever with over 180,000 points with 685 contact. Besides a lot of DX countries that they worked 49 of the 50 states, only missing out on Alaska. Special thanks to Sherry, KJ4MOB, the club's teacher and coordinator, as well as the many Elmers who contributed. The vast majority of the students in the club were first-timers to the contest and really gained a lot of experience, which will translate it to a lot bigger and better things for the club in the future. Congratulations, KY4DH. Congratulations to the new hams who took their test at the last Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club exam session. Welcome, Daniel Straub, KQ4WND, Jessica Neal, KQ4WOT, Christopher Lesko, KQ4WPR, Andy Zender, KQ4WQZ, and Richard Dimmock, KQ4WRG, to the ham radio hobby. Also, congratulations to Joseph Baker, N8BAK, who upgraded to extra class. Congratulations all. Welcome to the hobby. With great sadness, Ken Rude, KZ5KR, has become a silent key. Ken was first licensed in 1958 in the Panama Canal Zone and issued WA4IZ8, later KD4PN, until vanity calls were started in the 1990s when he became KZ5KR. Ken was very active in Aries, Mars, and the Masonic Order. Ken was a tremendous resource and will be greatly missed. Thoughts and prayers to his many family and friends. The next Youth on the Air Camp for the Americas has been scheduled for June 15th through the 20th, 2025 in Denver area of Thornton, Colorado. Camper application period will open up on December 1st, 2024 at youthontheair.org. Eligible youth are licensed ham radio operators between the age of 15 and 25. Up to 50 campers will be accepted and priority will be given to first-time attendees. For more information about the event, go to youthontheair.org/Denver 2025 or contact Camp Director Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG at director@youthontheair.org. The Ohio Aries Conference will be held on November 2nd from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Ohio Fire Academy, 8895 Main Street in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Seating is limited, so you must register in advance. On November 4th at 7:30 p.m., the Okayan Amateur Radio Society, due to Election Day, will have their meeting at the Laughlin Church of the Nazarene, 335 West Wyoming Avenue in Laughlin, Ohio, where it'll be their annual show and tell meeting, where everyone is encouraged to bring an amateur radio-related item or project to the meeting to show it off and tell others all about it. This is always a great meeting. On November 9th at 1 p.m. is the Brunch Bunch at the Dewey's Pizza, 5649 Harrison Avenue in Dent. Pizza and ham radio. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? November 9th is the Ohio Endurance Series Bobcat Trail Marathon at the Burr Oak State Park. The marathon starts at 8 a.m. and the Athens County Amateur Radio Association provides communications for the event and needs some amateur radio operators to assist in providing this communications. If you can help, contact Jeff, N8SUZ at 740-541-0972. On November 14th, the Queen City Emergency Net will meet at 7:30 p.m. at the Red Cross Building, 2111 Dana Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. They welcome guests. On November 18th, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will have their meeting at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. This is the election meeting. In the October meeting, the election team announced that the slate of candidates that were nominated and accepted nomination for officers' positions for 2025 and closed nominations. Slate of candidates will be President Todd Sayers, KY4TLS. For Vice President is Rod Milligan, KY4ROD. For Secretary is Doug Cooper, KE4DTC. KCC. For treasurer is Fred Neal, W0NKY, and director is Frank Austin, KI4QFL. Since the nominations were closed and there's no opposition in any of these positions, it was decided to add a program to the meeting as well. President Todd, KY4TLS, will be presenting on how to be a net control and how to use NetLogger. So come on out and get some training so that you too can take a turn at being net control for your favorite net. The Milford Amateur Radio Club will hold their November meeting on the 21st at the Golden Corral Eastgate, 4394 Glen Estee, Withamsville Road in Cincinnati, Ohio, as their annual dinner meeting. All are welcome, whether you're a member or not. Please RSVP on the MilfordHamRadio.org website. Are you interested in emergency communications? Well, I encourage you to attend the Amateur Radio Emergency Team of Northern Kentucky meeting on November 25th at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky, where the emergency team's training team will give a great presentation that will start at the beginning of emergency communications and basically go over ARES, describing what it's for, what is emergency management, and what their main objectives are, and how this fits into the Amateur Radio Emergency Team of Northern Kentucky, and what duties members can expect when the KY6ET team is activated. With the recent major hurricanes hitting the southeastern United States and the devastation it caused knocking out electric and communications, we have seen the importance of trained and organized amateur radio teams and how they can help the entire community. It also illustrates the importance for you to get involved and share your amateur radio skills in times of need. So come on out to the meeting and see if this is something that you might be interested in.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I've compiled and tried to keep up to date an Excel spreadsheet of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area. Tabs separate the bands, modes, and you can easily look up just for DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications as well. Every time I update the file, I include the date in the file name so you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the most recent file. Any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com. X-Warn announced that Echolink is now online on the 147.165 repeater. Search for W8XRN-R in Echolink. The Russellville, Kentucky Packet X.25 VHF packet no digipeater has changed from KN4CEB-10 to KE4DHX-10 for connection.
Hamfest.
The Grant Radio Club Hamfest will be held on November 9th from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at 406 West Plum Street in Georgetown, Ohio. Talking on the 146.730 repeater with a PL tone of 162.2. For more information, contact Ken Klosterman at kd8fku@gmail.com. November 15th and 16th is the 52nd Fort Wayne Hamfest and Computer Expo at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum, 4000 Parnell Avenue in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They will be holding a ham radio testing session at 9 a.m., have lots of used and new equipment dealers, and 2 rooms which will host a variety of forums all day Saturday. Talk in on the 146.88 repeater with a 141.3 PL tone. For more information, go to fortwaynehamfest.com. December 7th is the Fulton County Winterfest 2024 at the Ruley Park Pavilion in Archbold, Ohio from 9 a.m. to noon. Talk in on the 147.195 repeater. For more information, go to k8bxq.org.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On November 2nd at 10 a.m. to noon, the Okayan Amateur Radio Society and the Queen City Emergency Net will host an amateur radio testing session at the Red Cross Building, 2111 Dane Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. For more information and to register, email hamtutor@ohkyin.org. On November 7th at 6 p.m., the Moorhead Amateur Radio Society will host an amateur radio testing session at their meeting at the Fire and Rescue Training Center, 99 Lake Park Drive in Moorhead, Kentucky. On November 9th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WCAVOA. On November 10th at 9:15 a.m., the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Society will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Old Elmwood Recreation Center, 6200 Wisniewski Parkway, Independence, Ohio. For more information, contact Metro Cinco at 216-520-1320. On November 17th at 9 a.m., the Geauga County Amateur Radio Club will hold a ham radio exam session at the Geauga County Emergency Operations Center, 12518 Merritt Road in Chardon, Ohio. For more information, email najmw2@gmail.com. On November 17th, the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Society will hold a ham radio exam session at the Cuyahoga Falls Library, 2025 2nd Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. You must register by emailing education@cfarc.org. On November 18th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by emailing Mark Volstead, AI4BJ@MVOLSTAD@TWC.com. On December 4th at 6 p.m., the Dial Radio Club will be offering amateur radio exam session at 2806 Manchester Road in Middletown, Ohio. To register, go to hamstudy.org/sessions/DIAL. On December 7th at 10 a.m., the amateur radio exam session will be held at the Georgetown Police Department, 550 Bourbon Street in Georgetown, Kentucky. You must register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WX4GPS. On December 7th at 10 a.m., the Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Sharon Center United Methodist Church, 6407 Ridge Road in Wadsworth, Ohio. For more information, contact Daniel Kinford at 216-702-8384. On December 14th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will host an amateur radio exam session at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylersville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KM4VEG, KY6MM, KE4WA, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area. This is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.